in the last video we did, you said Bitcoin's not going to go up until the end of October.
Mhm.
And it was just doing this. And the end of October, it went up. Like you said it would. And now it's like this, right? And one thing I asked you is like, okay, when Bitcoin number go up, and we'll talk about that later. And also, when is the all-time high this cycle? Because I promised my wife I won't screw it up this time.
So then I looked into United States, I looked at UK, and just to see what's going on with its Neptune conjunct North Node, how it could affect different areas of each country. Because remember, Neptune is this big, large, moving planet, and it affects everybody, society. So it affects you individually. Your chart will show you how it's going to affect you individually, but it's also collectively influencing society and things. And I feel like things are being exposed now. And Neptune does expose things. It exposes things that fake things that, I would say lies and deception, but it exposes these things as well. And I feel like that this is really exposing a lot of things like USAID.
Yeah, $8 million to Politico, $50 million to New York Times, 4.8 billion to Bill Gates.
Take the first step towards online privacy. Get NordVPN.
Buy crypto, off-ramp crypto, pay bills with crypto, spend crypto, all made easy with SPRITZ Finance app. Get $25 cashback with my link for qualifying transactions. Go to bit.ly/crypto-rich-spritz, bit.ly/crypto-rich-spritz. Hi everybody, I am joined once again by astrologer extraordinaire, and you'll find out why in a moment, what's happening with Bitcoin and what's happening with the world right now. Hi everybody, it's Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with astrological profits, because I'm joined by Lauren, and subscribe, all the links below and her links and everything else. Hey Lauren, thank you so much for making yourself available.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me on.
You're so welcome, so welcome. It's been a while since you were on, and you do crypto stuff and you do astrology stuff and and you YouTube stuff.
Yes, yeah. It's like almost like two different worlds that kind of try to meld into one.
Yes, and you also offer coaching on crypto, like if people want to get started with crypto or they want to know how to use an exchange, and you also offer personal astrology.
Yep, personal astrology readings, for the personal side, and I started doing for trading as well. Like if you're looking for trading, because I realized that, doing the charts for the market is good, but also knowing when is good for you personally to enter into trades or to trade, because that can affect things as well. If you have some things going on in your chart that aren't so good for you, your trades might not turn out the way you're thinking that they might turn out, just due to your own personal things going on in your own chart. So that does also make a difference, I've found, in people's, in the market with people.
Yeah, I bet, because there's some astrologers, like I could come to you and say, hey, listen, do a reading on me, you do a reading on me, with date of birth and everything, you got a Patreon group and everything, and you do a reading on me, and then separately you do a reading on what's going to happen with Bitcoin, but my stars may not be lined up, it may not be my fortune that time, right?
Exactly.
This way you merge it. And I mentioned you have a Patreon group, and also you offer crypto astrology for particular cryptocurrencies, like this is where Solana's going to go, this is where Ethereum's going to go.
Yes, I do. Yeah. It's very interesting looking at all the different coins and their charts, and it's very interesting. It is very, very interesting, and it's made me understand why certain coins, like if say Bitcoin's doing fantastic, and then there's a certain coin that's just not. It's interesting to see why that is occurring. It's because of certain things in that coin's chart that causes it to do the opposite of Bitcoin sometimes.
Yes. Well, you've got a lot of knowledge about crypto. I've been doing a few videos with a local astrologer in the UK, and I gave her, I think I told you this offline, I gave her one time I gave her the time when the Monero blockchain was released. She doesn't know Monero. She calls them all this Bitcoin or that Bitcoin or this Bitcoin. So I didn't tell her it was Monero. I gave her the time and date, and she described Monero to a T.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Astrology really, really is awesome, and it really surprises so many people, especially if you don't know much about astrology. Sometimes you can be blown away, like, wow, this is actually like on point.
Yeah. Well, I think I said it in our first video. I've been following and tracking ever since lockdown because I was anxious about what was going on. So I wanted to get some handle on something. And I started looking into it. And I actually think it's a forgotten, neglected, defiled, degraded science. It's
Oh
a
my gosh,
really
yes.
great body of knowledge. And there's a saying, millionaires don't use astrologers, but billionaires do.
Yes, yeah.
And I've
That is
seen,
very true.
because I've listened, I listened to them and everything. Let me see how this plays out. Let me see how this plays out. And it's like, oh my god, they said it was going to be like this. They said there was going to be lots and lots of surprising shocks
Yeah.
when Uranus moves somewhere or something, which is where we're at now. And then I also remember, and then we'll go on to what we're going to talk about in this video. In the last video we did, you said Bitcoin's not going to go up until the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just doing this. And the end of October, it went up. Like you said it would. And now it's like this, right? And one thing I asked you is like, okay, when Bitcoin number go up, and we'll talk about that later. And also, when is the all-time high this cycle? Because I promised my wife I won't screw it up this time. Like I've done 3 previous cycles.
I know. I think a lot of people have. It's just, you see it go up and you're like, oh my gosh,
It's gonna
it's
go
going to go forever.
No.
Doesn't.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the stuff that's going on in the world at a macro level, what's called mundane astrology. And you said something about Neptune moving into Pisces and that being a big deal.
Neptune conjunct the North Node.
Oh, okay, there you go. There's my astrological knowledge. Neptune conjunct the North Node, and we're recording this on Wednesday, the 12th of February at 7:30 p.m. in UK, because that might be relevant when this eventually goes out. So when is Neptune going to conjunct the North Node, and what does that mean?
So let me bring up. Can I share my screen?
Sure. This is your website, right?
No, this is a slide I made for
Okay.
this because I knew I needed some notes and I didn't want to be all over the place.
Right, okay. And I will have the links to your website in the description below, and people can go and find you out and check you out and have a reading.
So Neptune conjunct the North Node. Now, the site that I look at is astroseek.com, and it has it on February 22nd that it's conjunct. I listened to other astrologers, and they said that it's February 7th. But because Neptune and the North Node, they move so slowly, they're already conjunct, meaning like they're already next to each other.
Okay, so conjunct means next to each other, okay.
Yeah, that means they're sitting close side by side, having a really close conversation. North Node has to do with fantasies, illusions, and North Node is direction where people are going, and as a society, so the North Node is the direction, collectively the direction of where the world is going, where people are going, the ideal direction to go. So with these together, it's illusion, spirituality, deception, idealism, confusion. It brings out artistic inspiration, inventions, and scientific breakthroughs, especially medical breakthroughs, because Neptune does represent the medical field as well. So I took a look back at when this occurred last. And it also shapes political and societal trends and global events. The last time that this occurred was in 1858.
Oh, wow, because Neptune has such a large orbit, and it's such a slow-moving planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. So all right.
So it's very interesting what I found in it. What I didn't mention was it also has to do with drug addictions and things like that. So, and it can influence finances. Last time this occurred, there was the Second Opium War, with the United Kingdom declaring war on China, and it was the Panic of 1857. It's one of the most severe economic crises in U.S. history, and I thought that was very interesting because Neptune is in the sign of Pisces. That's its home sign, the most comfortable there. And the last time Neptune was in Pisces, there was the beginning of the financial collapse with Lehman Brothers. It wasn't conjunct the North Node, but it was in the sign of Pisces. So I thought that was interesting. And then when Neptune was conjunct the North Node in 1857, 1858, there was a severe banking crisis as well. So I'm not saying we're going to have a severe banking crisis, but we can see that in the world today there are many financial issues, banking structural issues occurring right now. Even with crypto, things are changing. Finances, the financial landscape is changing. So I feel like this will be a highlighted topic as we move forward, especially with this Neptune conjunct the North Node. What else happened? There was the first vision of the Virgin Mary to the 14-year-old Bernadette of Lourdes, France. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah,
It's like the famous place in France, Lourdes.
Yeah.
So spiritual, I wouldn't say awakenings, or Neptune has to do with the mind as well. So people could be more connected spiritually in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But that can also go to the extremes where there's cults that come about more. People just are obsessed with different beliefs that may or may not be, healthy or not. The gold rush started in California, and the first transatlantic telegraph cables was.
Okay. Well, just on that, we have a gold rush currently.
Yes. Yeah.
The price is at all-time highs in the US dollar. It's been in all-time highs in other currencies for ages, but the gold is in London, and people are scrambling around, big investors scrambling around looking for physical gold. And then what you said about the Virgin Mary, so I do get from other sources, there are energetic shifts that are happening. And from Hindu, I don't want to say mythology, but Hindu philosophy, that's better, where we've left the Kali, or we're about to leave the Kali Yuga, going into the Dwapara Yuga. This is Vedic astrology, by the way. You do Western sidereal, I think, right? But the way that our solar system is going to be exposed to more energies from the center of the galaxy because of the change of its position relative to the galaxy. Oh, yes. And transatlantic telegraph cable, well, the latter-day equivalent could be AI.
Yeah, 100%, especially with Pluto in Aquarius. I mean, AI is exploding all over the place. And a bit about that, Neptune blurs the lines of things. And we can see that with AI. It's like blurring the lines between what is real, what is not real, what laws or rules people are trying to place with AI, what is it, copyright. People are trying to figure out, is using AI is it copyrighted, is it not? Like, the lines are blurred with the reality versus non-reality of things. And I feel like that's going to grow even further as we move further into, with Pluto and Aquarius, but with this Neptune conjunct the North Node. And one other thing that occurred was, with medical, was cellular pathology was published in Berlin, establishing the basis for modern medical science. So I feel like we could see a big change with our modern science, maybe how they perform surgeries, or just how they're healing of people. Perhaps they'll start to look at the body as a whole and instead of trying to, just fix one part of people at a time. Maybe they'll start to incorporate healing as a whole, instead of just trying to, so if there's something wrong with your head, maybe it's your whole body that something's wrong with, not just your head.
Right. And the other thing that I see emerging, and I think this fits in with Neptune, is more stuff about energy and frequency and vibration and the healing qualities of those.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yes.
We could be moving away from that medical allopathic model to a more energy, frequency, vibrational based model that's more holistic, takes into account, the spiritual realm and consciousness.
100%, because I mean that, your body is one unit here that, everything is connected, whether you have your finger hurts to your toe that hurts, it's all connected within your whole entire body.
Yes. Okay.
So then I looked into United States, I looked at UK and the EU, just to see what's going on with its Neptune conjunct the North Node, how it could affect different areas of each country. Because remember, Neptune is this big, large, moving planet, and it affects everybody, society. It affects you individually. Your chart will show you how it's going to affect you individually, but it's also collectively influencing society. So for the United States, this is happening in his fourth house. This is the homeland, what it means to be American, spiritual, ideological movements, domestic and policy shifts, and public sentiment immunity. Now, I find it very interesting with President Trump here doing all of these things about, America First and all these things that are going on. I just find it incredible that him coming into being president and this occurring at the same time is really just like saying, it's just showing us in our faces of Neptune North Node conjunction.
Yes.
Of what it looks like.
This is incredible. Domestic policy shifts, like no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, it's like one after the other.
Yeah, one after the other. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, no more censorship. No more government involvement in censorship. Men are men and women are women. That's it.
Yep.
That's a visionary, radical model.
Yep. He's trying to unite people, and it's just, again, this just shows, and I did have through mistaking to avoid disillusionment and deceptive narratives. I feel like he's trying to break those deceptive narratives, like show what's actually going on, and not, because in the past things have not been very clear with different policies and things, and I feel like things are being exposed now, and Neptune does expose things. It exposes things that fake things that I would say lies and deception, but it exposes these things as well. And I feel like that this is really exposing a lot of things, like with the USAID.
Yeah.
That whole thing that just came out.
$8 million to Politico, $50 million to New York Times, $4.8 billion to Bill Gates.
It's crazy. It's absolutely. I'm just like, we're having all these money issues all over the world, but here in the United States, and then we're spending all this money on these things. Come on.
Oh, well, Bill Gates, think about him. We don't want him going short, do we?
Oh, yeah. He needs the money.
Yes. All right. And then the UK?
Then we have UK and the EU. Now, I had to look up some different articles on the UK and EU because I'm honestly not very well versed on the news that's going on. But I know you are, so you could fill a lot of the blanks in. So for the UK, this is happening in its 10th house. It's government, leadership, the reputation of the country, deception in leadership, scandals, lack of clear direction of leadership, misinformation, shifts in national identity. Now, I know that they just re-elected new prime minister.
Yes. Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer.
Stalin.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, I have to.
No, I'm teasing you. Keir Starmer. Those are his policies. They're Stalinist.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did read that, and I wasn't. Was it? Wait a minute. Am I reading the correct thing here? Yes, people are not very happy with his policies, his labor. Correct? He wants to.
Well, it's WEF labor.
Okay.
Labor. It's horrible. He's like Joe Biden on steroids.
Oh boy, that's not good. Well, it does show unstable, idealistic policies, fall of government or leadership changes, propaganda, media manipulation. So with his policies that have come out, I'm going to say that people are not happy.
No.
He's doing things that are not giving a clear direction for the country. People are fighting back. There's also the farmers.
Yeah.
And I believe it's in the UK. They're doing the word right now.
They're changing the tax rules in such a way that family farms will lose their farms, and these are farms, they've been held by a family for hundreds of years, and that's allied with a few other policies like putting wind farms and solar farms on agricultural land, building cities on agricultural land because of the mass migration that's been coming in, and then telling farmers that they have to at least 10% of their land, they should let it go wild. So the upshot is less food.
Oh, wonderful. People need food.
Well, Bill Gates will give us bugs thanks to the 4.8 billion that USAID.
Oh, yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah.
He's wanted in a couple other countries.
I think Kenya, the Netherlands, I think
Yep.
India as well.
Yeah, he goes there. Well, he can't go there. I guess let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible. But yeah, so there's some leadership issues, and obviously that's pretty apparent within the UK, and those will continue to grow. Different scandals that will be coming out, that will be exposed, that affect the government. There was a WhatsApp
Yeah, there
scandal.
was a couple of MPs who made some really nasty comments, offensive comments on
Okay.
a private WhatsApp group. There was also a Labour, I don't know if she's a peer or an MP, but her family in Bangladesh embezzled billions of dollars. Billions.
Oh, okay.
And then Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, she said that she worked for a bank in I don't know, their risk analysis section or whatever, right? She actually worked in customer service.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
They are the worst. They are the worst.
Well, unfortunately, with this, and the Neptune conjunct the North Node will continue to expose those types of scandals. And it's the people um, coming together to, I don't want to say get rid of the government, but to make the changes in the government. But there's going to be more exposure of these scandals and just unclear boundaries of where the government comes in and and the people. There's going to be like those boundaries, government crossing those boundaries of invading the privacy. There was something
Oh,
that I saw yesterday. It was a bill that the UK wanted to introduce, the nature.
climate and nature bill.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't
Where
become law yet, but it will allow local governments to essentially commandeer people's houses and a whole lot more.
that's
Yeah.
scary.
It's so
That
much
is
more. But Lauren, in October, the previous WEF government, the Conservative Party, they put in a law that if you don't tell the government about your chickens, how many chickens you own, including the exact geographical coordinates of where they're housed, you can face a £1,500 fine or a 6-month prison sentence.
what? Wow. Okay. Well, that's definitely crossing some boundaries there.
It's like, now I know you're in Florida, right? Which is like paradise compared to what we have to deal with. You could end up somebody could end up in prison, because
Wow.
they assaulted somebody or they did a burglary, and then they're sitting next to them and someone, well, I didn't tell the government about my chicken.
My chickens were. That's ridiculous. And now, what is the reasoning that they want to know all of that?
They want to. They want to. Well, I think they're using bird flu as a cover. We want to stop
Oh,
the bird flu, mythical bird
oh,
flu, using the fabulous PCR test. But really, it's to deny us food, to deny us
that's
self-sufficiency in food.
disgusting.
I mean, and I
Wow.
think the same thing's happening in the UK, in the US, with the destruction of chickens,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
and
Eggs are
eggs are now being
ridiculous
rationed.
price right now.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah. This North Neptune conjunct the North Node, again, it's exposing things and it's bringing to light things in the dark to the light. It's making people see that what's like almost like what's really going on. Exposing the agendas of the government of the UK. So and there will be changes from it though because of it. It's not going to just be all bad. It's like it's exposing the things that need to be exposed in order to make the change, in order to cause societal shift to say, no, we don't want this. We want to be able to eat our food. We don't want to tell you where our chickens are housed because these are our chickens.
our chickens. These aren't nuclear weapons. Now, what's the thing about
Exactly.
4-day work week and Elon Musk?
Oh, yeah, there was an article about that. Let me pull that up. I don't know if this is going to change. Can you still see my page? Did it
Yeah,
change?
yep,
Okay. I wasn't exactly sure what this was, but Elon Musk wants to revolutionize British politics.
right. This is from
Um,
about a month ago, right?
yeah, he wanted to.
Donate to the Reform UK. Okay. All right. Well, if you can go back to the previous screen, I can tell you a bit about that. And
Okay, yeah,
I'd invite people to watch my videos with Tom Luongo and Alex Craner. And the idea being that Trump, as a sovereigntist, is out to wage war on the remnants of the British Empire that still want to run things.
yes, okay.
And Elon Musk is acting as Trump's attack dog.
Mm-hmm.
because one of the things the government, UK government, want to do is they wanted to. I don't think they're going to be able to do this at all now. They wanted to censor X and fine X, and prosecute Elon Musk or bring him to the Parliament to answer questions because he has all this misinformation on X. Misinformation being government speak for things we don't like. So that's that. And the 4-day work week, it's also part of the Great Reset because they want us working less.
Okay, and why do they want you to work less? To just make less money for?
I don't know. Don't know. I want you and I, we should do a video, or I'll ask you. You can think about this. You don't have to respond. Do the astrology of the WEF. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody's
that's
done
a
that.
good one.
Yeah, I'll find out when it was launched or something, or a birthday.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
I should, because I know that group is.
Yes.
Many things to say about that group.
Yes. Shall we look at the European Union now?
Yes, it's the European Union.
And Lauren, I appreciate you doing this because there's loads of stuff on YouTube about the United States because it has such an impact on the world.
It does,
And
yes.
also it's such a large population. But I wanted to know about the UK and the EU because I'm impacted by that.
Directly impacted. Okay, so the EU, it's in the fifth house. This actually, I would say out of all three, the UK will probably experience one of the more challenging times with this Neptune North Node conjunction. For the EU, it's in the fifth house. It's enhanced visions and idealisms, unity, compassion for the collective well-being, growth, visionary initiatives, cultural integration, deeper sense of shared identity and purpose. Education will also fall under this, and children. Topics that have to do with children, their education, because fifth house also rules education and children. I didn't include it here on my presentation here. Public perception and media change, how the EU is perceived and portrayed in the media, trying to be more compassionate and inclusive of everybody, blurring the boundaries and creating illusions. So the EU could be blurring those boundaries and trying to create an illusion that it's doing better than it actually is. Or trying to create an illusion that they are very inclusive. I'm not saying they're not, but they're just trying to show that they're inclusive for all and there's no issues and no problems and everything's great when there are some issues.
There are some significant
going on.
Yeah, there are, and I don't know how well you know EU politics. You may not at all, right? Or,
no, I'm not very well versed in them.
Yeah, no, the EU is in really, really bad shape. And so I think of Neptune, that all of that stuff emerging. So something that came out of the USAID is how the EU had given 138 million euros to various media outlets, undisclosed, like behind the scenes, so that they could give favorable coverage to the EU. And then the European Union has sanctioned itself from cheap Russian energy. And Germany has been hit by that because Germany made money from really great high quality manufacturing. But if you don't have cheap Russian gas, how are you going to produce affordable goods? You can't compete with China or India.
Yeah, you're not.
And then Germany's the biggest money earner for the European Union, plus also their open borders policy, which we have in the UK and in the European Union still. Levels of crime have gone up. It just tears at the social fabric. And I speak as someone who wasn't born in the UK, but I'm an immigrant. But my parents were vetted. There was work for them. We came as a family, not as a bunch of single men, right, with no work, nothing to do.
Yeah.
So there's more and more anti-EU movements, anti-migrant movements. That they're what sovereigntist movements.
Right.
Of course, anybody who's sovereigntist, like I am, and I suspect you are, well, we're far right.
Yeah.
You want border rules imposed and regulated? You must be far right.
How dare you?
That's right. You think men are men and women are women? Oh, you're definitely far right.
I know, and it's very interesting how that has shifted so much. Like A few years ago, um, you know, speaking out about something like that, it was a no-no. But now it's like you're an extremist for even saying something that having a separate girl and boy bathroom is safe. It's safe for the boys. It's safe for the girls to have them separated because that's a safety issue.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy how things have just changed and swung just so far left, far right, however you want to say it. But yeah.
What's the change that you've noticed in the US since Trump's been in power and all the changes he's making? Like with the people that you interact with, and has there been a shift?
I've noticed that people are more outspoken about take the girls and boys on sports.
Right.
That they're not as demonized. Like before, I'll say when it was the Biden presidency, if you said anything about that, you were a terrible person. How dare you say that? If you're a boy, you can't be on a girl's team. But now it seems like people are standing up more for it and speaking out about it and looking like, yes, that is correct. You should not have a girl on a boys' team or a boy on a girls' team in the separate bathrooms. I've noticed that it's more, people are more on board with that ideology. They're not so against
and what
it.
about with respect to the other stuff that Trump has done?
People are just for everything. That they're very. There's more positiveness in the country. I would say there's more hope, optimism. Not like the country's going to fail. We're all going bankrupt. There's so much more optimism and hope now, I would say, in the country moving forward. It's like people are excited about being American again. They're not like, oh man, I'm American, You're kind of embarrassed about it, but they're more, people are more, I feel, coming together. And there are still a big opposition to things.
Mm-hmm.
There always will be an opposition to things, but I feel like people are more becoming unified about wanting to get the country on the right track, moving in a good direction, and not trying to. There's division, and there always will be some sort of division, but I feel like that gap is closing. It's not looked at as such as a black and white thing. It's like more people are like, you know what? Yes, we are all in this together. Even like say like different like racial inequalities. Yes, and there are always issues around those things. But I feel like people are more looking at each other as one. We're American. We're here. We're together. We're fighting this together, and not such a divide in the people.
That's great.
No matter what background you're from.
Which is what you said in the beginning about Neptune conjunct North Node in the United States fourth house. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I think you've got one more screen, which is about Bitcoin.
Yes, that was my last screen.
When number go up?
Huh?
When number go up?
Oh, yes. Well, let me get to that screen because I have it at the beginning. So hold on 1 second. My projection is in April. Now, this could be at the very end of April, but April 4th is when planet Saturn in sextile in a really good conversation. They're in a sextile, but to think of it as these two planets having the best conversation in the world, and with them together in this aspect, that I believe will push the price of Bitcoin up to an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
Because Saturn and Uranus in financial astrology, they are the planets that move the market. They like dictate the market. They're not the only ones. There's other things that are, in the background that are going on. But with them in any type of conversation, whether it's when they're next to each other, they're opposite, they're square, trine, those two planets like dictate the overall movement of the market. And especially with Uranus and the crypto market. Now, a lot of studies have been done with the stock market because crypto market was not around back in the early 1900s and stuff, or even the 1900s. It's relatively new, but Uranus does rule crypto. So with Uranus in this really good conversation with Saturn, I believe that is when we're going to see around that time the market really start to move up, all-time high, perhaps. Yeah, that's my projection for that.
Okay, that's interesting because according to the 4-year cycle, Bob Lucas does this, also crypto.com, crypto_con on X, and others that do this. We're looking at it's like usually about 35, 36 weeks after the halving, which would take us into October, November, December, around about that period. I don't know if you're familiar with, but those are just based on the relationships of the halving, not astrology.
Well, I do have a second date as well. I have 2 dates here.
Oh.
I do say that one as one of, okay, so we'll say that's one of the periods where we're going to see the crypto market go up, high, to the all-time high. The other one I do have is in November, because Uranus will be in a sextile to Neptune, which is very positive. Neptune does these weird, unexpected things with the crypto market, but it gives it this, like, sometimes unbelievable candles that just seem to go up forever. So I did have that date as well, but for myself personally, I really do see that as April to be a really good period for the market.
Right. Okay. And just to say, anybody who's watching, none of this is financial advice, right?
Exactly. Yes. And then I was going to do your own research.
And I don't mean to denigrate it. It could be like I don't know, throwing sticks on the ground and seeing which way they point, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not guaranteed. Even the best TA, technical analysis, is guaranteed. So let's see. You were right last time. Come on.
Yeah,
I'd like it. I'd like a peak in April and then alt season, which is what you're suggesting, I think, and then November all-time high. I'd like that. That would be
great. That would be great. And I guess the one other thing about April is I feel that would be a really good time, again, whether it's all-time high or just a really good time, is because Saturn is not having any conflicts with other planets. Like Saturn also does limit things, pushes prices down when it's in bad aspects to other planets. In April, it's like all systems go. Like, it's not blocking any other planets during that time. So that's another reason why I feel that April is a really, really strong, good time for a crypto market.
That's fabulous. Okay. And then what have you got here? There's March 30th, Neptune enters.
Oh, these were just little notes that those were little notes that I had when, let's see them. That was when, March 30th was when Neptune moves into Aries. May 25th, the Saturn enters into Aries, and July 7th, Uranus enters into Gemini. I was just looking at different other periods of possibilities. So those are just my own personal notes.
Right. And the alt season?
I would say that would follow when Bitcoin has its all-time high, or when it starts to like go up and look like it's never coming back down. That is when alt season will also occur. It usually follows Bitcoin.
Okay, it's been really bad this time round.
Yeah,
really bad.
I mean, I kind of feel like that the landscape of the crypto market is changing in a way, because there's so many other coins, and some coins are starting to separate from Bitcoin's cycle. Some coins have a really great move up at different times, other than when Bitcoin is having its all-time high. I feel like the alt season could be different this time. Yeah. I'm not sure how, but I feel like it could be different.
The meme coins are sucking up a lot of liquidity. People put money in there and then lose it real fast.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, they do.
Never doing that again.
You can spend a lot if you watch it like intensely, but yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah. Lauren, anything else you want to say before we finish up?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much. I'll have the links where people can find your work. Really, really appreciate this, and look forward to having you back on again. And everybody, please go and check out Lauren's work. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with stellar profits. Cosmic Rich and Cosmic Lauren signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.